Hello, coders. Good evening. Sorry for being a bit late. I've had a bit of an issue getting this PHP course running locally for some reason, but we will prevail. I want to do some quick changes this evening to the course. Bear with me a second. I'm a little bit disorganized. Let's just see if I can get into the repo a second. And it is, can't even find the actual thing. Here we go, PHP course registration. I'll just put this on the screen. Let's just bring this over here for a second so we can all see it. And boom, here. Okay, so this is where we're at the minute, and we have these four issues that I've created: index controller, router, profile controller, and security controller. What I'm going to do today is just kind of stub a little bit of these out, really. Nothing crazy. I've only got literally half an hour ish, to go. So I'm just going to start very gently bringing some of these into fruition. So for instance, on the index controller, that is the controller that is going to be used, just says index, to direct people into whichever page they need to get to. The profile controller here will have editing the profile and viewing the profile. So we need to document that one is a get request, which is this one, and then the edit is also a get and a post request. And then we have to look at the security controller. So this is when someone logs in and logs out and registers. So what I'm going to do very lightly, incredibly lightly, like as in to the point where it is almost just stubbing out code, really stubbing out code. I am going to do that today. I basically want to play around with the structure of the code. So this is where we're at, where we are at the moment. Is this being? Yeah, there we go. This is on the stream. So we have here in the src folder, and in here we have database, manager, and model. Now, I think what I would like, and again, I'm just throwing stuff on the page, not really too sure whether this is all up for grabs, but essentially I would like to have a controller, and in this controller I would like to have a class for every for every route, right? So for instance here I would have, say, not index, we would have profile. And I haven't even decided whether we want to have like profile controller. Let's see, how have I done it with, say, the managers here? We have user manager and abstract manager. So maybe we should follow that convention, and maybe we should have profile. Again, very light stuff. So profile controller, just making these decisions at the moment. So profile controller like that. And then I suppose what we need to do is obviously hook up the namespace for this, and that would be, say, app, and then say, controller, and then we would have a class, right, which would be profile controller, and then within that class we would have a series of methods. Again, I'm making this up as I go. There isn't anything to back any of this up yet in terms of testing. I'm just playing. So I'm gonna say that these are all gonna be public functions, and we could have, so we've got view, which could be index, maybe, I don't know, haven't decided. And that is going to return a response, which we haven't created yet. So we need to create that response. we also need to pass in a request, right? So again, this is all very pseudo code. So we're going to pass in a request, which is request, and we're going to return a response. So it's already offering me up HTTP env and HTTP client here, and HTTP response. What is? Am I right in thinking that that is? Let me see what that is. A minute. Let me just get to there. That is HTTP response. Is this what I need? I don't think it is. That's a plec HTTP. No, I think what I'm going to do is make my own. And I suppose this would be, so it would be a response interface. And again, we haven't decided what these will be. I suppose I would like to keep to PSR, and that's a request interface. Yeah, so I need to establish what those are. So I tell you what, for now, let's just pass in request, and let's just put in a return. Let's just put in some notes here. Yeah. Well, no, let's just leave that out. Let's just for now, let's just play with the structure. So we've got an index that will be, let's describe what the index will be. So this will be, don't worry about that for a second. This will be to list, no, that's not right, is it? To return, to display a user's profile, right? So that displays a user's profile. And then underneath this, we would have edit, I guess. So this would be to edit a user's profile. And we need to have, we'll put some notes in here. So this would be a post request. This would be a get request. So when you, after you've logged in, you click on the button to go to your profile, that spins up this request. So this will return the profile of the user. Do I want to call it profile or do I want to call it user? Let me think. Because maybe we want to call it, I'm just thinking that is the only thing that says profile. So maybe we want to actually rename this to be user, not profile. If you think about the whole sort of domain stuff, that should be user. So this displays a user. This edits a user. Doesn't matter if it's a profile or not. I mean, yeah. Okay, that makes a bit of sense, I guess. Hey, how's everyone going? Do I have a tutorial? Do you have a tutorial or course on how to do TDD in PHP? I don't have a course. However, on a lot of my streams I've done, I have incorporated an element of TDD. We're not doing it here because I'm just throwing ideas to the page. This will all be rebuilt, and once I'm happy with the sort of the feeling of it, we'll get to a point, and then I'll go, right, now we need to do it in a sort of a TDD manner. At the moment, these are just stubs, code stubs. But no, in the previous streams I've done, I have added some TDD, mostly on the howtocodewell.net site. but they're mainly on Twitch, to be fair. And I can't remember right now which ones I've done heavy TDD on and which ones I haven't. So I mean, I stream most Sundays or most weekends, sorry, on Twitch, where I do that kind of stuff. Right. I mean, later on we'll be getting into TDD into this once I've got an idea for how things sit. When I start these courses, there's just so many ideas I've got in my brain that I just need to get out, just to get the rough shape of it, and then once that's in play, I can then start, coming up with that kind of stuff. Because at the moment, how would I test this? I can't. It's not going to return anything. I'm just coming up with sort of almost like a list of things to do. So here we've got display user, edit a user, post request, get request. And then what we need to do after that is, if I go back to here, we then have security controller. Security controller is going to deal with things like login, logout, and registration. So I guess what we could do is just copy and paste that and call that security controller for now. And we could have, from here, we could have login, right? So this is going to be both a get and a post request. And then we've got, so this is going to log a user into the system. It may do other things like set cookies and stuff, set session. Yeah, so, okay. Let's do requests. Well, let's just leave it like that. And then do, actually, sorry. Set session. Discovers user in DB, set session if valid, redirects user to user, and we could do like user controller index, I guess. As to how that looks, I don't know yet. I don't really want to do like an ID, so /ID, because you shouldn't really be putting in IDs into the URL for like the incremental hacks and stuff. So I will probably do it through the session. So if we go back to, say, the user controller here, what we need to do is display a user from the so instead of display, well, it's going to display, but it's going to do other things. Actually, all right, let's put that back. It's going to find a user, find the user from the session. It's going to redirect user if session is not valid, and it's going to redirect the user, to login page if session is not valid. Display a user, yeah, and it's a get request. Okay, so now we're starting to sort of mold it a little bit, so almost calling it building a story. So I should have really started here, because this is the beginning of that story. So you log in, it discovers a user from the database, discovers user in database, sets session if valid, redirects user to user controller. Okay, and then from here, it then finds the user from the session, right, which is stored, from the stored session. then it redirects the user to the login page if the session is not valid. So we should do display like a welcome page. Oh, display not a welcome page, a welcome message if user has logged in correctly. So then if we go back to the security, we need to do something here where we say set session if valid, sets flash message or session message, sets flash message, sets success message if user has successfully logged in, and then something like that. Yeah, sets success message if user has successfully logged in, and then redirects user to I guess what I could do is tidy this up and say if logged in, then it's that set session sets success message, and then redirects user to there. I don't know why all of this is white space found at the end of the line. Fine, whatever. Okay, so that's good. And then if not, I suppose we should find that, deal with that. If invalid, login, then it sets error message, and then it just refreshes login page, something like that. Okay, right. So we're now so let's say we've logged in and we're now here. So it finds the user from the stored session. It displays success message, right, if there is one, right? So that's going to have to be stored somewhere. Redirects user to login page if session isn't okay. Fine. So here we can say if not found, if user is not found, then what we need to do is redirect the user to the login page, and also display error message. Oh, no. It is to store. What was the language I used up here? Sets. Yeah. All right. Sets error message. And then if invalid, okay, if logged in, displays user. I guess because we're going sort of on this end, we're then redirecting back to the login page, which would be, and let's just define it. So it's security control the login. So that goes back to here, and now we've got a error message, right? So we need to display that. So we need to do display error message if there is one. Okay. Right. Then here we need to make this a little bit more explicit. So if we do say on submit, then here we do okay. Right. Okay. So we've logged in. Everything's all good. And then the user goes to the edit, and it's gonna be kind of similar. What we need to do is find the user from the stored session again, right? It's not really. It should be load, to be honest. Load. I think. And then it's kind of this, really. There's going to be a bit of copying and pasting, but it kind of gives me an insight as to how one would structure the components of this. So, for instance, we have a redirection going on here, and we got an error message going on here, which would be the same as this one, right? So we would need to have like some folder which would have helper scripts, or something that would do that, like find user and throw exception, that kind of jazz. Find user or error, and find user or error and redirect, kind of method going on. Anyway, right, so on edit a user, that is, so load the user from the stored session. If the user is not found, then sets the error message. This is on both post and get. So let's do get plus, because you would, so viewing it on index would just be like a read-only page, right? Display a user in a read-only page, right? In a read-only view. Whereas this would be to edit a user, and that would display display user in a edit view, right? So basically a form. And then so this would be both a get and a post. So this would be get or post. At each time we need to load the user. And what else do we need to do? We need to display user in form, user data in form. And then on the post request, we need to save. Oh no, we need to update user details. We need to validate user details in DB. We need to validate user details, update user details in database. Right. Does that include cleaning? Probably not. Let's clean user details. Okay. And then update user details in DB. Then we want to let's give this a update user. Update user. Well, let's do on submit again. Clean user details, validate user details, and then update details in the database. And then if we were to do it in order, it would be like that, then it would be that, and then we would have if success, then we would have something like set user set success message. Then down here we would have if invalid, and in fact we would do this not there, we would do this here. So if invalid, set error message, and then we would have if success, we would then go in and do that, which would then do that. There we go. There we go. So we would clean user input. There we go. Input. Then we would validate the user details. If valid, if invalid, we set the error message. We also need to refresh. Whoops. I can't spell refresh. My brain has just gone, nope. Refresh page. There we go. We also need to do the same thing down here. And then on this, on the post request, well, on the post request, it then goes back into the get request. So what we do up here is we say display error message if there is one, and then display success message if there is one. All right, we load the user from the stored session. If the user is not found, we set an error message, redirect to the security login, and then we display the user. So if user is not found, then this would be here. If user is found, and then that would be like that. And then here we've got a post request on submit. So that's both get and post, right? Do you display messages on a post request once you do a post? Yes, you do. Yes. So that's cool. Then we would do that. We probably, if we were to do this in order, we would need to do this, right? So the way I'm thinking is that there needs to be, so if it is found, if the user is found, then we display the error message. If there is one, we display the success message if there is one, because of course if the user isn't found based on that thing, then we would fire it back to the login, so you wouldn't even get to this point. So yeah, I'm just trying to work out in my head, like, you know, the logical flow of all the things. That's essentially what I want to try and get to. Display user, log the user from, load the user from the stored session, display the success message. Would you ever get to this point? I suppose you would if you were to access the URL, and I haven't even thought about what the URLs would be. My guess is that this, if I was to just throw something on the screen here, we would have like / like user, right? So I guess if you were to access that, then you would need to have, yeah. All right, so that's /user. This would be, oh, hang on, is it? Oh, now this is where we get confusing, because this would be user edit, right? There we go. And then that would be /user, because this is a read-only display. So /user. Yeah. And then if we were to backfill this, this would be slash login, and then this would be this wouldn't even exist yet. Yeah, I think that kind of makes sense. Discovers user on submit, discover user in DB if logged in. If logged in. Okay, instead of if on login, there we go. That confused the hell out of me. On login, on submit, even better. On submit sets the session on submit, on valid submit. On invalid submit. Right, that makes sense. On valid submit sets the session, sets success message, redirects the user. Now, actually thinking about that, there is another thing here, because what happens if you are logged in and then you go slash login? What happens? I need to think about that edge case. And if we were to keep the format going, that would be post, and that would be oh wait, hang on, no, that is right, isn't it? On post, and then that would be a get, or it would be a post. Yeah, okay. Well, that's enough, I think, for me to chew on. I need to think about how to construct this, because what I'm thinking is that we will use the PSR stuff, right? So like PSR 7 and 15 and all that jazz to construct the actual routing and the middleware and all of that stuff. We'll probably use those the standardized way of doing it in PHP. I don't want to go off and create my own thing. I mean, we're not going to use any frameworks, certainly not, but I don't mind using like the standard way of creating a router, messages, HTTP factory, all of that jazz. So we will do that, and I think at that stage we will look at TDD. What I wanted to do today, which I have done, is just basically throw my thoughts down as comments as to what these things need to do, and actually and discover the areas of commonality. So here, like I said, it's setting error messages, redirecting stuff. So I'm kind of thinking that we need to have sort of like almost helper methods that deal with these kind of scenarios, and also flash messages, success messages. They need to be stored in the session somehow. I haven't created this yet, and then discovered on the page. So whether I don't know. So let's say we were, I mean, we're not obviously going to return an array, but let's say we are returning a response, and that response would have like the body of the response, which would be stuff. I guess this would be like var_1, and that would be like, I don't know, user, like, I don't know, first name or something, I don't know. And then after this we would have, say, the 200 response code. There we go. Yeah, so whether we want to say pass in messages at this stage, or whether we want, because I haven't even thought this far ahead yet as to how to deal with. So what I'm trying to wrap my head around is, let's say we've got these error messages and success messages. How do we push this down into here, is there going to be a common session that gets passed in? So maybe there is like a session thing, and then from the view, so let's say we created our view. I'm just going to throw some code on the page. So let's say we had a P tag here, and then we had, say, like session get error message or something, or even better, get message, like that. And then I need to think, well, you know, what happens if there's multiple error messages? Do I need to? And then I go down the rabbit hole of, do I have like partial templates that deal with these kind of things? So like, is the parent template, does this have some kind of fancy thing where we have, like, let's say that this is a div here, and we do class this is where I'm not typing fast enough to get it out of my head. So we got a div class message, and then we have like PHP echo session get message type, right? So that'll either be get out of my head. There we go. Get message type. So that would either be like let's call this alert, and that would be like alert hyphen, and then it would be error or success. So that would change this to be like green or red or whatever, and then we would have something in here. We need to have some intelligence to know what the message is, right? So we would have, oh, I've totally blown up this page, but I'm just trying to get this out of my noggin. So we'd have PHP, we would have like message type is equal to this, and then we would have like that going into here, and then this going into there, and then we would wrap this around, say, look, okay, there could be a possibility where we don't want, blah 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 blah. We need to find a way to discover whether there is a message. So we would do something like, if session has message, there we go. Then we discover what the type of what the message type is. Let's not screw around with that. And then we display it on the page. And then, I mean, we could call this like alert.html. Well, it'd be PHP. And then we would obviously need to somehow pass the session into there. I haven't quite worked out that yet. Obviously, that needs to be a div, obviously. And then we would have, think. What will we have, Pete? Where are you going with this? Yeah, so we would have like, I don't know, base.html.php for the template. Would have like require once of, say, alert.php. And then, so yeah, and then somehow pass in the session. I don't know how this is going to work. And then check whether there is a message. I'm actually going to call this has alert because that makes sense. Has alert. In fact, yeah, has alert. Get alert type. That is now alert type. And that is now alert type. Something like, I don't know. I'm just throwing things to the page. I don't know. But I don't want to be passing, the point of all of that rubbish was that I don't want to be passing the same thing through each one, right? Because that's prone to human error, that on one of these responses I won't be passing in the session. Which makes me think that maybe we need to have some form of decoration here. So we apply the session from a global place. So we wrap this into some form of decorator that says, okay, we're about to hand off the response. Let's provide the session stuff to it. And I guess at that point I can be quite picky as to what parts of the session I want to give away. So for example, here I would give away the alert. Or something. I don't know. I am going to just get rid of. Well, I won't get rid of it. I'll comment all that out that I get rid of all that. Yeah. There we go. I'll sod it. Let's just get rid of it all. I kind of know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's all I've got time for. But I needed to get that out of my head because there was a lot going on in there that I need to get out. I guess the next couple of streams will be on the Tuesdays shows, at least, will be to kind of put a little bit of beef on these bones and work through how this all sort of hangs together using the PSR stuff. There are a couple of things that I want to just tidy up around the unit, around these tests here. I don't know if I've even shown you these on stream. This is stuff I was playing around with the other evening. Yeah, there's a failing. I think it's that one. This one's failing for some reason, but I can work through that using the debugger. I'll probably do that one evening, and then we'll be good. And then yeah, we'll get onto the requests and responses here. But at least now I've got some. I haven't gone through all of them, obviously, but at least I've got enough to go on. And I think I'll probably start from like the user's point of view and not deal with the logging in from the session stuff. That'll be after we've come up with the mechanics of the session. Anyway, I need to shoot off. Thank you ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone. Take care. Cheers. Bye bye. I hope that made sense. Kind of did to me. But I'm crazy. See you later. Bye.